Mine was
Hey, worship team, it's great to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us on the worship team training tracks episode. We have our vocal lesson, and we are excited having Stefanie Kelly join us today. Stefanie, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome. It's great to have you. Thank you so much for your time and being here and taking us through some vocal studies.
You're welcome. I love to do it.
Awesome. Well, guys, today we're going to be focusing on where did the harmony go? That's our question because as many of you know, within your own worship team, we practice those harmony parts, we get to rehearsal, and man, we just forget everything that we just ran through, or we can't think of what to do on the spot, or even worse, maybe we had a great week and then Sunday comes and everything just out the window. So we are here today to help give a few tips on improving things like memorization and what you can do as a singer to approach harmony. But we asked Stefanie here this morning to join us because Stefanie has some great ideas on how to incorporate harmony for both men and women. How we're going to facilitate this is she will play a recorded version of her main vocal melody and then sing on top of that during this recording of video. She will have the female demonstration, I'll do the male demonstration, and we go. So Stefanie, tell us, what is our song today that we're choosing from?
Well, we're going to use John Mark McMillan's How He Loves and just do some different things that either a single vocalist, because a lot of times nowadays churches may only have access or choose to use just one other vocalist in addition to their main worship leader, and that's great. Or if you have access to and choose to use multiple vocalists, these techniques can also work. So I think that's kind of fun. And I want to say one thing. Harmony, as I approach it, is something that needs to just complement and enhance the melody. It shouldn't be all about the harmony. The harmony shouldn't be at the forefront. It just needs to be a sensitive, well-developed, strategic part that really just adds to what the congregation ultimately is being led to sing with the melody. So it shouldn't
Awesome.
distract and it shouldn't be like this super crazy thing.
Awesome introduction, Stefanie. Thank you. Can you go ahead and take us through the song, just singing
Yeah.
the main vocal melody of How He Loves?
Okay. He is jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane. I am a tree. I'm bending beneath the weight of his wind and mercy. When all of a sudden I am unaware of these afflictions eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. And oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us. How he loves us so. And oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us. How he loves us so. Here's the bridge. He loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves.
Awesome. Beautiful rendition. Thank you so much, Stefanie. Now let's go ahead and have you play your recorded voice.
Okay.
And while she's doing the recorded voice, Stefanie is going to sing live over similar to what she had just done.
Oh.
And she's going to give us the right approach and some ideas for what female singers can do. Stefanie, take it away.
And actually, even some male singers can join in if it's low enough, you know.
Sure.
A couple things that I want to point out to notice are spaces, leaving space when you enter, leaving space in the middle, you don't always have to be singing. You shouldn't always be singing at all times, especially with harmony parts. So spacing, I like to think about harmony as a counter melody also. So just when you're arranging the parts in your head, worship leaders or whatever, vocalists, if it's only you, think of your part as like a really complementary, again, there's that word, counterpoint line to the melody.
Yeah.
It's a melody, so it doesn't have to be boring, and it can still be simple and beautiful. So just notice those kind of things.
He's jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane. I am a
So this arrangement has some jazz chords, and we'll just skip some sections. But I would come in as a one vocalist, maybe the second part of the verse here.
When all of a sudden I am unaware of these reflections eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are, and how great your affections are for me. And oh,
Maybe unison.
how he loves us all. Oh, how he loves us. How he loves us.
Now you can just kind of
so.
Okay, awesome. Hold on, stop right there. That was great, Stefanie. So apparently on that harmony, you took the lower fourth. Can you talk a little bit about how you approached that note?
Well, I'm not actually sure what I did, but I think I did kind of like the lower fourth before the melody. So how he loves us so. Just a simple. Just adds a lot, starting on the chord.
So do you think that even with those little melody phrases that you just sang are some good ideas? How would singers incorporate that into an actual song like what you're doing?
Well, you can have one singer do that. I like to build my arrangements dynamically, and
Right.
so you don't want to usually, on this kind of a song especially, if a more energetic song is what you're doing, then you all might want to come in together, and you probably should initially. But like this, you want to build, and you want to take people on an emotional experience, because that is one thing music so beautifully can allow us to do. It's to express our emotions before the Lord, and giving us permission to feel certain things and to wait and to have hope and to kind of stall a little bit and be still. Like those are things that we need to feel in our spiritual lives, and music beautifully lets us do that without telling us that's what it's doing. That's why I think music is God's gift to church. But I got off on a tangent.
No. Actually, you brought up a great point, because spiritually, how we are to be quiet in our souls, and there's times for just to stand still, to pause, and then there's times to take a breath and speak or sing. You're doing the same thing vocally, and how you're entering each line.
Yeah, and when you have more than one vocalist, you have to just map that out, and that is okay. I mean, mapping out when you're silent, mapping out your blend, and when you take breaths and how you enunciate, that is good. That's a good thing to do. It's being deliberate about. It's a discipline, right? It's a spiritual discipline.
Right, and that's a good point too, because some singers may say to themselves, "Yeah, but that means I'm not singing all the time." Well, that's the whole point, isn't it, Stefanie?
It is. I mean, one of the things that is so special about music is that you can create dynamics, and dynamics, again, are just a way that we can feel very vulnerably before the Lord and express that feeling. And so you want your music to take you on a little journey. I mean, that's what our lives are.
Right. Very good.
But all of this can work. Like if you had a group of 3 singers, on unison parts, I don't like to have 2. I would rather have 3. So balance is really important. And so you could have 3 parts going, oh, how he loves us so. Space.
Awesome. Well, let's do this. Let's now take the version of how a male would approach the harmony part. And by the way, everybody, we're doing this in the key of B flat. So it's a good key for both men and women to sing. And Stefanie, I'm not going to play as beautifully as what she just did with her version, but I'm just going to give the idea vocally how a male should approach it. We would be down here, or up here rather, right? Oh, how he loves us so. So that's where we are right there. Everybody else knows the line. Now I want to play my recorded version, and I'm just going to sing on top of that of what the harmony should be doing. Here's my vocal. Loves us so. So that's our melody. He loves us. So that's the upper third. He loves us so.
Nice.
We'll do that again. How he loves us so. How he loves us. He loves us. Now we go to the bridge, and I'm going to go under the part now. He loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves. So that's just one idea of how men can take that. So the beginning verse section, I took the higher harmony, let's just call it that way for keeping it simple, and on the chorus, I went to the lower part. And the reason why I did that is because the song is so rangy. Wouldn't you agree, Stefanie? Starting from the verse is high, and then from the low, it just works out better that way. Now, can you talk a little bit about counter melodies and a new thing that you mentioned before, like a lot of pop and also a new country sound is doing? They use a lot of lines of common tone lines, but also little short mini melodic phrases. Talk about that.
They are. Well, they're doing a lot of fourths. So, like, if you had 3 separate parts going on, you could do, let's see. So that's like making I mean, Bach did this the best.
Yeah, right.
Part, you know, inner voices. So
inner voices.
I'm just doing the bottom voice, kind of scooting around the D there. And those are just fourths. C, F, B flat. And that's just a powerful sound that country music has latched onto beautifully. And I think of it's a little bit older, but of the I Hope You Dance, that middle section with, what is it, Sons of Joaquin or something, or San Joaquin. They're doing like, time has all this beautiful.
Yeah. During the actual melody and harmony voices. So that's
and it's effective. Another good example, don't want to get off track, but on Cannons by Phil Wickham. So when I'm singing a tenor part, the melody is, you are holy, you're great and mighty, the moon and the stars declare who you are. I would voice it and go, the tenor part, you are holy, great and mighty, the moon and the stars, the moon and the stars.
It's a nice way to play with that line, too.
Lots of seconds and fourths. Give it that just more modern sound, seconds as opposed to like thirds.
Right. I'm a second man myself.
Yeah.
All right, so take us through the wrap up. How do singers help themselves retain the part, memorize what they're singing? What do you encourage them to do?
So bring a recording mechanism to your rehearsal, and always rehearse the parts that are being, always record the parts that are being arranged there for you. Your part is just like any other instrument. You don't want to just wing it. It doesn't sound good when you wing it. And you also need to listen to what the chordal instruments like the piano and the guitars are doing so that you're not interfering with what they're doing. Arrangers, that's important. But record it, listen to it when you're driving. I make vocal exercises out of parts that I'm trying to learn. So like,
take us through.
So okay. So oh how he loves us so is the melody. If the part is oh how he loves us, I'll do that and then I'll go oh,
So take it up the key. So it's a great use of warming up too.
Oh, he loves us. Yeah, it is, because you never know on a Sunday morning how your voice is going to be.
Right.
And the song key isn't going to change. Your voice likely has changed or is doing something different than from the rehearsal. And so if you've gone over these parts, it helps you with your retention, remembering it. And then it also gives your voice like flexibility so that it's able to just have more to choose from.
Right.
In the like tones and walking through an exercise on different scales, it kind of like lubes up your voice, really.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
you can work with what you have for the day and have more tools to help you get through it, basically.
Well, speaking of the day, you brought us a great one today, Stefanie. Thank you so much for joining us and taking us through the vocal lesson with harmony.
Yes. I heart harmony.
Yes. And if you are familiar with our worship team hangout, you will get more of humor just like this.
I'm sorry. I'm
every other week. No, just kidding. But Stefanie, thank you so much for joining us today and coming on board and talking about harmony and sharing your heart.
Yep, you're welcome.
Awesome. Well, folks, that's all the time we have today. We are going to have Stefanie come back on the 19th, hopefully. We will do a part 2.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about harmony and other things that she mentioned, like warming up and some other techniques, some great things that Stefanie had shared. So, Stefanie, again, thank you so much for your time today. And, folks, be sure to join us back on Training Tracks. We will appear again on the 19th of November. And be sure to join us back next Wednesday live with our regular worship team hangout. And we hope to have you then. Guys, thank you. Bless you and your worship teams. And we'll see you back next time on Worship Team Training.
Sounds good.